And so let's switch again to Huntsman. What an interesting campaign he's run in New Hampshire. Boots on the ground, door to door. He's done what a lot of candidates have not done, and it seems to have paid off for him. We're going to go back to Anna Sale, who is in New Hampshire at Huntsman's headquarters. Anna, you just heard my comment. Boots on the ground, door to door. It seems to have paid off. What's your view there?
Well, New Hampshire voters love to be courted, and John Huntsman did that here. But, you know, Ron Paul courted voters here, but also had an extensive organization on the ground. So, you know, John Huntsman's returns here are, I think, in part because of the time he invested here, but also he's a moderate Republican. His appeal to independence and really fit with the makeup of this electorate. So it made sense for John Huntsman to invest so much time here. What the pathway forward, though, is in this Republican nominating contest is a little bit more of a question. Which also brings up the question, you said Ron Paul. You talked about Ron Paul and you compared that to Huntsman. Have you come across people who couldn't make up their minds between Ron Paul and Huntsman? Are they the same voter? You know, I found a lot of Romney-Ron Paul folks who were sort of couldn't decide between those two. John Huntsman people seemed to be John Huntsman people. They were won over by his, you know, campaigning here. They liked his moderate approach, and they knew they weren't, even folks here tonight I've talked to, they knew they weren't picking a winner, but they wanted to make a statement about kind of the direction of the Republican Party. Ron Paul, on the other hand, was sort of the anti-establishment choice for voters who were also checking out Mitt Romney. So I think that's why it's a really compelling 1 and 2.
Are you finding that President Obama has serves as someone who can coalesce these various splits in the party that we were just talking about here? Is there any evidence of that you've seen on the ground in New Hampshire?
Well, I've run into a lot of independents who supported Barack Obama in 2008 and who are looking to vote Republican in 2012. Of course, it depends on who the nominee is. I talked to a Ron Paul supporter who said, you know, if Ron Paul's not on the ballot, I'm absolutely voting for Barack Obama. So it could cut a bunch of different ways. I mean, there's a reason the Democratic National Committee has been focusing on Mitt Romney for the last, you know, several months. They have been focusing their attacks exclusively almost on him because they don't want to run against Mitt Romney. And they didn't see, you know, John Huntsman just never proved to be the threat in the Republican primary field that they feared. But Mitt Romney, if he's able to make, you know, kind of connect on this appeal to independent voters that we heard tonight, that's what the Obama administration is afraid of.
And this passion that we've seen for Ron Paul, are you seeing that at all in among Huntsman supporters this evening?
You know, I haven't heard that overlap. I think they may be out there, but I haven't run into it. I mean, what Ron Paul makes me think about is I was just thinking about Ross Perot in 1992. We're talking about this third-party run, and the thing about, you know, Ross Perot, he had a populist appeal. He was also sort of dismissed as fringy, and also kind of ran into some trouble with some kind of whether he had some racist overtones in some of his past. So that's kind of an interesting comparison to think about. Is 2012 going to end up looking like 92?
You know, one of the questions that certainly comes to mind in regard to John Huntsman, even if he goes on to South Carolina, where does the money come from? And I'm going to turn to our guest for a second, Anna, here in studio, and ask that question. Huntsman comes from a lot of money. His father has a lot of money. He's a millionaire. He hasn't been willing, it seems, to spend that. Will he spend it now? And what will that mean for Mitt Romney's campaign going forward if he has to come up against a more formidable actually financed John Huntsman?
Well, it's interesting to me because what I see starting to happen already in South Carolina is that Gingrich's super PAC has bought a big ad buy, $3.5 million, to go at the Bain issue against Mitt Romney. Will Mitt Romney respond? And a lot of times what happens in politics, and Michael knows, you get two top candidates that start shooting at each other, and somebody like a John Huntsman or Rick Santorum run some positive messages and get out there and campaign, and they shoot the gap, and they rise to the top. So I don't know that's going to necessarily happen in South Carolina. Maybe for Huntsman, Santorum maybe could benefit from this, and maybe Huntsman somewhere like Florida could also benefit. And then this primary just goes on.
Absolutely, and that's what happened in Iowa with John Kerry when you had those two candidates. You had Dean and you had
Gebhardt and Dean. Yeah.
Yeah, Gebhardt killed each other, and he slid up. I don't know if there's enough time really for Huntsman in South Carolina, and there's only so many primaries you can skip. I could see his father's, the independent PAC, going down to Florida, which has a lot of market area. It's a big state for a good retail campaign, spending a lot of money down there and trying to put their second flag in the Florida marketplace.
Okay, we're going to